G'day guys, and welcome back to another video on the YouTube channel. And in today's video we are going to be going through my round 2 AFL tips and predictions for the AFL season. If you have not liked and subscribed to the channel, please do that. And if you do go in to enjoy the video, like it and subscribe to the channel. We're going to set a like goal of 30 likes for this video, and let's get straight into the video. So now let's go through my round 1 tips for the round. I've got a solid 6 out of 9. I'll be taking that any day of the week. I'm really happy with myself. 6 out of 9, I'll be taking that, because 6 out of 9 is actually pretty hard to get with the round we had. So if you haven't joined the tipping comp, please join it. I think I'm first or second in my tipping comp now. Yeah, let's just get straight into the reviewing the round. So I tipped Carlton, forgot to tip this game before the game. I was like, oh shoot, Carlton are going to smash the Tigers. Why didn't I tip for this game? It's a free tip. And Richmond got the job done, surprisingly. This was probably one of the most entertaining games of the round, in my opinion. When Sam Lalor, he kicked 2 goals and 18 disposals. He's an absolute gun. Same as Trainer, whatever his name is. He's also good. So a lot of the Tigers youngsters have been stepping up, and they look very, very promising in another 3 years. I'm not even lying here. It was such a good game to watch. They came back from about 30-odd points and then came up to win it in a miracle. A dream start to the AFL season for the Richmond Tigers, and proved everyone wrong. Some people even said they might not win a game this year, and they proved it wrong in the best way possible and got the job done against the Carlton Blues. Sorry, Carlton fans, that was a terrible performance. But yeah, then we had the Hawthorn vs Essendon game. So my Hawks took on the Essendon Bombers, and my Nick Watson, what a game you had, mate. It was such a good game for him. He did well, and I mean, to be honest, we didn't do well with inside 50s, clearances, all those stuff. We lost most of them, as Sam Mitchell told in his press conference, so pretty disappointed about that. Hey, that's something to work on, but to be honest, I'm pretty happy, stoked with the win, 2-0. Last season we were like 0-5, so that's a better start than last year, so well done. This was absolute smashing. Geelong vs Fremantle, got that tip correct. It was 3 out of 3 at that point. Geelong smashed them. Like, I can't even explain it. Freo are going to have some trouble in 2024-5. Then Brisbane, the reigning premiers, won at their CG in an absolute thriller. That was a pretty good game. I mean, I didn't watch any of the Saturday games except for the night games. But yeah, I can tell it was a very close game. I tipped the Lions, thought, yep, they're going to get the job done. Did get the job done, and it's a good tip, because most of them would have picked Sydney because it's at their home ground. Then I went for a really, really wild card guess. North Melbourne to beat Bulldogs, and I definitely got it wrong. And I feel like it's not a bad call when I look back on it, because Bulldogs, they did pretty well, but North Melbourne to keep up with the Doggies was pretty good. I watched this game. Paul Curtis, 3 goals in the last quarter, just kept giving North some hope. And well, that's what you want to see from these young teams. They've really, really evolved, and that was a really good game for North, and I'll be happy with that. Port and Collingwood, this was a blowout, mate. In the first half, it wasn't that bad, but then when it got to the second half, it got really, really bad. Don't even want to talk about that. Then we got Adelaide and St Kilda. Adelaide got the job done against the Saints convincingly. GWS vs Melbourne was wetter footy, and GWS got the job done. And then Gold Coast got the job done against West Coast and smashed them, turned it around. So 6 out of 9 for the round. Before I get into the tip, I'm sorry that this graphic has been pixelated. Everything's pixelated. Sorry for the low quality of the video, but let's get straight into it. Carlton vs Hawthorn, Thursday night footy, 20th of March, 7:30 p.m. at the MCG. Of course, we saw the Hawks getting the job done against the Essendon Bombers by a good 26 points, while the Carlton Blues lost to the Richmond Tigers by 13, the bottom of the table. Some people thought Richmond won't win a game in 2025, and they proved everyone wrong. So this is concerning signs for the Carlton Blues as they come on to versus the Hawks, as the Hawks are in very, very good touch, and they look like they can really rip in on Thursday night to get absolute smashing, and I feel like it might be the case as it's at the MCG. They like playing at the MCG, free ball movement, and I think the Hawks will get the job done, and they'll get it done by a good 41 points. So Friday night footy at the MCG, 7:40pm, the Doggies taking on the Pies at 7:40pm at the MCG. It's going to be a rip of a game. Of course, we know the Bulldogs, they have been very, very not competitive, as they only won against North Melbourne by 14 points. And we know Collingwood, as they bet Port by 91 points, but I don't think Collingwood is going to be consistent in 2025. They'll get good wins here and there, but not too many. I mean, they'll win here and there, but they're not going to be consistent wins, I think. But I feel like the Bulldogs, they look pretty good, but of course they have some key injuries here and there, but that doesn't really matter. I feel like the Bulldogs, they're just the better side in general. I feel like they're going to get the job done against the Pies. Upset on the Friday night, and I'm going to tip the Bulldogs to get it done by a good 4 points in the MCG. So now the Bombers taking on the Adelaide Crows at the MCG Saturday, 22nd of March at the MCG, 1:20pm. Of course, the Crows, they came off a convincing win against the Sainers, and the Bombers, they lost against the Hawks, which is pretty concerning. But this is at the MCG. They played there in round one, the Bombers. They did do well. We like Isaac Kako. Looks like he's going to have a breakout year very, very soon. And the Crows, they look pretty good coming into 2025 and look really, really solid. So this is going to be one of the best matchups, I feel, for the round, and one of the best Saturday games you're going to watch in a while. I feel like it will be a pretty good game. With the Essendon Bombers and Adelaide Crows with like the same skill level as each other, it will be a very, very close game. So that's why I will be tipping the Essendon Bombers in an upset to get it done by 7 points. So now we got Richmond and Port on the Saturday, 4:15pm at Adelaide Oval. Of course, we saw that ripping win from the Richmond Tigers. They absolutely got the job done, and they beated the Port Adelaide the Carlton Blues. And I think they are going to be in a big morale coming into this game, with Sam Lelaw being very proud of himself, same as Trainia and all the youngsters for the Tigers. They're going to be hyped up to prove the haters wrong yet again. But I feel like it's going to be too much for the Tigers to beat the Power this time around, because the Port Adelaide Power, they're such an experienced side, other than the Carlton Blues that are not that experienced. But I feel like Port, they got some good youth and some good players in there as well. So I feel like the Crows will have to get the job done against the Tigers. If they don't, it's going to be very embarrassing. So I'm going to tip the Power to get the job done very easily by a good 27 points. So now on the Saturday, March, 7:35pm at Marvel Stadium, we got the Sainers taking on the Geelong Cats at Marvel. Expect a decent crowd. I don't think too much on a Saturday night for this game, because, I mean, we know the Saints got smashed against the Crows, and if you get smashed against the Crows, that's not a good side. And I don't think it's a good side for the Saints, and I don't really think it's really good. I mean, the Geelong Cats, they just look so good. Of course, I think they're going to really do well. Of course, the Saints, with the loss of memory, moving to the Pies as well, which could really cost them a bit of goals there. And, they don't have a really good forward line as well, which concerns me as a Saints, if you are a Saints fan. And I feel like the Geelong Cats will get the job done pretty easily, and they'll get it done by a good 41 points. So now on the Sunday, 1:10pm at the Gabba, we got the Brisbane Lions taking on the West Coast Eagles. And the Brisbane Lions coming off a very close win against the Swannies, which was a very close game, and West Coast getting smashed by the Gold Coast Suns isn't a good sign for them. But still, you never know, upsets can happen, you never know with this game, honestly. But I think West Coast, they do stand a chance in this one, and they'll stay in it, like North did on Saturday. I feel like they got a chance. They have some great players. Charlie Cameron, they got some good players, the Brisbane Lions, and also the West Coast Eagles. Jake Waterman, he's a great player. He's been doing well in the forward line. I think he'll kick a bag. They just look pretty good in general. But I'm going to tip the Brisbane Lions, which is one of the more obvious tips. And we're going to tip the Lions to get it done by about 14 points. So now we got North Melbourne and Melbourne on Sunday, 3:20 p.m. at Marvel Stadium. I think this is going to be a very, very good game. Of course, we know North is a very good side, and also Melbourne is. We saw North Melbourne against the Bulldogs play really, really well, and they did really well. So I feel like they know how to compete with higher level teams, and we know Melbourne, well, they're not that high competitive, but they can compete when it's there. They compete very well. But North Melbourne, with Nick Larkey, I feel like he'll kick a bag, and Jack Darling in the side has really, really made an impact for them, as I saw on Saturday night watching the game. It was such a good game, and I feel like North Melbourne are going to be really in the contest and get the upset, and North win by 13 points and shock the league. Now we have the Dockers and the Swans at Optus Stadium at 6:10 p.m. on the Sunday, 23rd of March. I feel like it's going to be a very, very boring game, as always the last game of the round is. And yet again, I feel like it's going to be the same story, a very boring game of footy. It's going to be a very one-sided game, and I feel like it's going to be obvious who I'm going to tip after that big Fremantle loss. It was very embarrassing, and the Swans losing in a close one against the Lions, but I feel like it's not going to be the case, and I feel like Fremantle are going to have very big concerns coming into the rest of the season after this game, and people are going to question them, and I feel like the Swans are going to get the job done by a good 53 points at the Optus. Now, like and subscribe if you want to see more content, and yeah, like the video if you did go on to enjoy the video. We're setting a like goal of 30 likes, and subscribe to the channel. Of course, I said I might not get the tipping video out, but I did. That's why I had to not do the play of the game graphics. I'm really sorry, I was very busy, but I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.